made no sense to be angry. A lot of things happened. Okay? So anyway, a lot of what they do, they don't really know how to express their anger. They're so angry. It's also a great lesson because it's deep enough in the curriculum where they should feel comfortable with you now, opening up, right? So I like the way it's strategically placed on the 5th week. You've had a lot of good things before that. And again, a lot of the mistakes that they make are from anger, okay? And a lot of relationships that are bad, talking about healthy relationships, there's an anger component in there. They can't get over things. It's a blockage. So that's your template for the lesson. And the reason why these supporting mechanisms are so important is because the day is a really simple day. For me, anyway. I know you may use different things. A lot of you are a lot more creative. You use, charts and have them make things. But for me, this week is about repetition. Repetition, 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 repetition. Okay? So, the first thing I go over is the good and bad wolf. Who knows about the good and bad wolf? Some of the veterans. Talk to me about the good and bad wolf. What's that story about?
It's a story about an Indian young man, and he's talking to his grandfather.
Mm-hmm. And in that discussion, what's happening?
Where his grandfather is basically telling him a little bit about his past and how he allowed anger, using the wolf as an analogy to explain his anger.
Exactly. So the good and bad wolf.
And he says that there's in each of us, there's a good wolf and a bad wolf.
That's right. That's right. Not that we have multiple personalities.
Right.
Not that we're two different people. It's just that we all have a good side and we have a bad side.
Right, but that is important. I think the important thing from the whole lesson is how you choose.
Right.
Exactly. That is exactly what the good and bad wolf story is about.
Right.
The fact that we are recognizing that we have a little bad in us, we have a little good in us. The key is, which one do you engage?
Right.
Which one do you feed?
Right.
Because that's the person who's going to dominate you. Okay, so that's the entire lesson, and you already have that. That's in your in the lesson in the handout, so you can read that to them. All right. What I want to stress to them about the good and bad wolf is not necessarily that there's two sides. One of the most important things with children, they want power. They want to always feel like they powerful. They got control over something. So this is great. This is where you tie into that and you feed into that and say, you know what? I know you like power and control. Well, guess what? You have the power and control to feed whichever side of you want to feed in every instance. In every instance. So now there's no more excuses. Because what they always say is, well, he made me angry. Or she made me angry. No, we talked about power. See, when you have the power, there's no excuse. Right? When you're the captain, you're running the ship, there's no excuse. So, to get into that, that kind of sets the stage. All right? So it's all about power. And if you want to use more coarser lessons, more harder terminology, you can talk about streets. Streets is about power. Right? Gangs are about power. Drugs is about power. Bad relationships is about power. All right? So now you have the power. All right? And we're not going to give that up no more. No more blemishes. So, that's the first thing. Now, the very first thing that I do is called, what are you doing? That's my icebreaker to this. Okay? I know there are some new people here, so you don't know what the what are you doing exercise is. But basically, do I have time to demonstrate that or no? I don't really want to, but...
What is that?
What are you doing? I showed it last year.
A little time.
So, anyway, basically, what are you doing is an icebreaker game that I start with that has a person right here. You get them in a line. They come up. A person right here is doing the action. So one person is doing like this, and this guy says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Scratching my nose." And he goes, and he goes, and he goes. And if you say the same thing, you're out. It's all about thinking on your feet. It's about thinking under pressure. And that's what they feel. This anger is like pressure. So the game is about making the right choice under pressure because you want to win. Right? You want to win the game. Right? So, but in life, it's about winning in terms of staying alive. Not taking somebody else's life. So how do you think under pressure? Do you make the right decision under pressure? So that's what my opening activity is that ties into this lesson.